what's going on, everybody, and welcome to something that I'm calling 7 Days of Black Ops. I know I also could have called it just like Black Ops Week, but since it's Black Ops 7 coming out, I figured 7 Days of Black Ops would be a better title. But anyway, what we're going to be doing for the next 7 days leading up to Black Ops 7's release is going back and playing each of the Call of Duty Black Ops games. So first off, let's just look for a lot 24/7 Nuketown. We'll just dive into that first just to kind of, get reacquainted with the game here since it's been a minute since I played Black Ops 1, especially here on Plutonium. Originally, I was thinking of making it like an 8-day thing where we go back and play World at War as well, since that's technically a part of the Black Ops timeline, but I figured we just kind of keep it relegated to the Black Ops games to keep it sort of nice and neat. So yeah, we'll be playing each Black Ops game in order, and then obviously on the 7th day, that's when Black Ops 7 releases, and then we'll be going straight into that. So we have a whole week of Black Ops content ahead of us, so I hope you guys are excited for that. It'll be happening day after day, as usual with my content, and as soon as we get into the match, we're defeated. Love to see it. I will note, I'm using a crappy, like, third-party Xbox Series X controller right now, so if this one craps out for any reason, I do have a spare I can plug in. I low-key think I broke it back during the Donkey Kong series, because if you guys remember, I ended up raging a good bit, and I beat the heck out of this controller, man. Like, I forget what level it was, but I just grabbed it and I just started beating it profusely, and ever since then, it does this weird thing where it'll hold in LT on its own, so I'll just start aiming. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. Wait, did I pick up a gun? Oh, I did. I was like, wait a minute, did I click gun game by accident? But no. But anyway, yeah, ever since then, I don't know, it just sort of aims in, like, it'll start doing this sort of thing. I mean, obviously I'm doing it intentionally right now, but sometimes it'll literally just do that on its own, so hopefully that doesn't happen too much here. Anyway, yeah, the ping isn't the greatest in this match, but Black Ops 1, what can I really say about this game that hasn't been said before? Between the amazing campaign that's kicked off the Black Ops timeline. Again, I know the World of War campaign is technically a part of the Black Ops timeline as well, but we're just kind of keeping this relegated to the Black Ops game specifically. Kicking things off with, like, David Mason and, bringing back Reznov from World of War and just kind of, going on with that whole timeline there. And then we have the amazing multiplayer with some of the most iconic maps, weapons, and just overall gameplay systems in Call of Duty history, and it's just one of the most... I don't even know how to explain it. Like, when I think Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and the multiplayer in this game is one of the first things that comes straight to mind just because it's so iconic and it's just so... Call of Duty. Like, I don't even know how else to explain it. I put a lot of time into this game, as I've told many times before. I had an Xbox 360 at my mom's and I had a PS3 at my dad's, and this was actually one of those situations where I ended up playing this game more at my dad's, because for a while it actually took me a little bit to get Black Ops 1 at my mom's house. So every time that I was at my dad's house, man, I played this game like crazy. And I will say I do have a very specific memory with this game and this map, which is kind of, I guess, sad in retrospect, just because I haven't talked to my dad in like 10 years, just because to be, truthful, me and him just never had the greatest relationship. We just, didn't get along very well at all, and it just wasn't very good. So, but, me and him, when I did used to see him still, we'd stay up so late into the night. I remember one time we literally stayed up until like 2 a.m. playing this map, and we'd always just 1v1 each other. We'd like run around. I was really annoying in 1v1s against him, if I'm gonna be honest, because I'd be running around with some of the most annoying perks in the game, using like the Olympia, and obviously you guys know my Call of Duty playstyle. I've always been the rush-in type. Obviously, in like Black Ops 1 and any of these other classic CODs, you can't really rush in the same way that you do in modern Call of Duty. Like, you can, but obviously the style of rush is a lot different, whereas nowadays just like non-stop, full speed, full speed ahead and everything like that. But even still, I've always been the type to just kind of, I don't even know what I was doing right there, but I've always been the type to just sort of go forward and see what happens. I remember last year before Black Ops 6 came out, I had this thing where I went and played Black Ops 2 Plutonium for the first time, and I tried to, I was talking about like maybe going for Master Prestige, doing a bunch of camo grinds and stuff like that, and obviously BO6 ended up releasing and I completely dropped all of that. But man, every time that I go back to these classic CODs, especially here in Plutonium, just because I know that, there's no hackers in here like there is in the normal version of the game, or, there's just like not a lot of that other stuff that you gotta worry about, like player counts and all that, because there's, like even if there's not real players, bots fill those spaces, so you can still play the game and, play with the progression and just the games in general, regardless. I apologize if I seem a bit more scatterbrained or a bit more, I don't even know how to explain it, just a bit more out of it than usual today. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm just gonna be completely transparent. I've not been sleeping very much for the last week, and last night I was like, oh, you know what, I'm finally gonna sleep, and I got flashbang. Well, I need to go get my care package. But anyway, so last night I was telling myself, like, okay, I'm gonna get a good night's sleep tonight, and then, well, I just did it. Are you kidding me, dude? Somebody stole my care package. Not gonna lie, at this point I'm really just ready to play Black Ops 7 and start going for the camo grinds and Master Prestige and everything like that. It's been... I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm excited for the game, but I'm kind of at this point where I'm just getting impatient. You know, like Black Ops 6, it released early enough in the year to where I was like, okay, you know, I'm excited for the game, I'm ready to play it, and there was a nice balance of hype and excitement and not like this feeling of, oh my gosh, I just want to play the game already. But I'm kind of getting to that point with Black Ops 7 where it's like, yeah, I'm excited for the game, but the excitement is leading to impatience, and I don't want to wait anymore. I just want to play the game already. That's also part of why I decided to make this series called 7 Days of Black Ops. Then we have like this, because like for this last week, man, I'm like, you know, I've also been doing this thing where I've just been working a lot lately because I'm looking to move here soon. So I've basically been filling my time with just work. I'm like, you know what? I want to move here soon anyway. I'm just gonna, you know, just work for like 14 hours a day. And, you know, like, you know, I mean, it's been working, fair enough. But as they say, all work and no play makes me a dull boy. And in my case, all work and no play is just absolutely boring. I need some play. I need some video games. You know what I mean? It's been painful not being able to just no-life video games for a minute. So yeah, now we got 7 days ahead of us where we can just kind of chill, have a good time, go back to these games. And I will say there's one, I gotta reinstall Cold War on my PS5. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I keep like playing with my hair and just getting all distracted. I don't know. They're calling in all sorts of score streaks. I'm just vibing. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'm getting kind of suspicious of this one guy, Crafty DMC. Like, I keep shooting him, but it just doesn't work. Like, I don't like. You know, sometimes in these classic Call of Duties, you shoot people and it doesn't exactly register the first couple bullets just because that's how the netcode was, and it's like fine. It's like a game from the 360 era. But I don't know, man. This one guy, I shoot him over and over, and it just nothing happens. That's the other thing. I'm not saying that there is any hackers in this lobby specifically, but just when it comes to older Call of Duties in general, like, it's really fun going back and playing them until you run into a bunch of hackers or just other people trying to ruin the game, you know? Then it's like, alright, this isn't exactly the game that I remember. And I mean, to be, like, I don't know, this guy's just getting really annoying. But, like, back in the day, sure, you know, you dealt with a lot of annoying people or hackers or, you know, this thing or the other. But nowadays, it's just different. I don't know, it's just annoying. Okay, I actually ended up killing that guy, so I'm not sure why my shots weren't hitting before, because that's the guy I was talking about. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, and people are gonna hate me for saying this. People dunk on Modern Warfare 2, the new one, so much for the movement and it being a slower paced game and everything. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I think MW2 is faster paced than these older CODs. I feel like people just forget that because of, I don't know, rose-tinted goggles and nostalgia and everything. But bro, I'm thinking that that game is either on pace or maybe even slightly faster than a game like this in Black Ops 1, because when you come back and use this movement, I'm not saying it's bad or that it's bad that it's a slower thing. As I always say, I've been playing COD since Finest Hour. If anything, I actually have, oh, connection interrupted, nice. If anything, I actually have like a preference for this kind of movement and, you know, prefer this style of gameplay just because with newer Call of Duties, it's nothing inherently wrong with the game design itself. It's just more or less comes down to the community and the way that the community utilizes said movement and gameplay mechanics and tries to like min-max everything. And just, you know, just be really like sweaty and annoying about it to get their little TikTok clips or whatever. Whereas for me, I'm a lot more like what I mentioned before, where like, yes, I do like rushing around, but for the most part, when I'm playing a game like this, I do kind of like to, I don't know, hold my position every now and then. Like, I'll rush in, get a couple kills, but then when I can tell that I'm shrieking out, I'll kind of do a thing like this, where I'm just like sitting up in the house, beam down there, flip around, check the spawns, make sure nobody's coming in, and then just kind of do that. You know, that's kind of like how a lot of players played it back then. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you know, as much as I love Omni movement and all the fast movement mechanics and everything, it is nice just playing a game that's more chill like this. That being said, I'm actually really excited to see how Black Ops 7 plays with its movement with no skill-based matchmaking being in the game, or at least very minimal skill-based matchmaking. Again, it's a conversation I've already had a million times before, where even classic COD had skill-based matchmaking to a certain extent. It's just, it wasn't as severe. Basically, how it worked back then was King was ping, and then it took into account very light things like roughly your KD and your level, but that was literally it. Like, it was very light. It existed since COD 4, but matchmaking speed and quality were at like the very top of that, as well as like relative location, because you'd constantly get into matches with people that lived relatively close to you. So yeah, now we're actually like finally going back to that instead of skill being on top of everything else, even over connection and over whatever else, which is also why matchmaking went from taking literally half a second like it did in the old COD game, sometimes even less than that, literally a fraction of a second, to being like, you know, what it is in the Modern Warfare games, or even in Black Ops 6, where, you know, in Black Ops 6 it's definitely a bit faster, but it's still, you know, not as fast as it used to be. But in Black Ops 7, as soon as they took out SBMM, literally instant. Oh man, I just unlocked the M14, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you know, so between that, and we also got disbanding lobbies coming back in BO7, which is gonna be really cool. Let me switch it up for a minute and use the Olympia. I was talking about it last match, I might as well get at least one kill with it. Nice. Dude, I don't know why the bots are spamming flashes today. Okay. Dude, I didn't want to like charge at him with the Olympia. I was like, he was like shoot, wait. I know all these gods are bots, but like, dude, I want to go on a bit. I want to try to go on at least a little bit of a streak. Got the care package. Hopefully it doesn't get stolen this time. That's the fun thing about these classic gods too. Like anytime you get into situations like I was just in, you can kind of, you know, there's like a bit of strategy too, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna juke this guy out, run around, and you know, get him like that. Whereas nowadays it's like, oh, you want to get somebody? All right, engage tack sprint, dolphin dive, and spin around and shoot him. No, connection interrupted again. Stop, dude. I was literally on like a 5 or 6 skill streak, and they just ended it. Oh my gosh, dude. Connection interrupted is so cursed. I'm so glad that they have dedicated servers for COD now, because they had peer-to-peer in Call of Duty until Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 was the first game that had dedicated servers, but everything up until like World War II even, that was all peer-to-peer connection, which is also probably part of why they couldn't have, you know, ramped up skill-based matchmaking any more than they did, and also part of why matchmaking was probably so fast, because it was literally just peer-to-peer connection. But even still, like I mentioned before, obviously matchmaking is like a lot faster. That's also probably what ties into what I said before about how you used to get paired up with people that lived relatively close to you, and it was always just kind of like this funny thing. That's probably part of it, because it was peer-to-peer, and but like I said, now, you know, obviously matchmaking is just as fast on, you know, like Black Ops 7 without skill-based matchmaking and all that, now that it's dedicated servers, be it, you know, just good, consistent connection and everything like that. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I kind of said what I need to say in this video. We just kind of sat here and had a good time and chilled. And that's really all I want these videos to be, right? Because I'm just going to keep it a buck with y'all. There is a lot of content that I'm going to have to grind out once Black Ops 7 comes out, so for this next week, man, I just kind of want to chill, relax, have a good time with y'all. Enjoy these games. Have a bit of a trip to the past, blast from the past, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, just a nostalgic trip down memory lane, just to kind of, you know, relive the glory days a bit before we dive into Black Ops 7, and, you know, if the beta is anything to go off of, and as long as they stick to their current philosophies with, like, no skill-based matchmaking, you know, keeping the getting rid of disbanding lobbies, so keeping persistent lobbies in the game, and just, I don't know, just staying consistent with a lot of stuff like that throughout the year, and just really taking Call of Duty back in a lot of various ways to how it used to be, in that sense of just being more of like a casual, fun, arcadey shooter without all the skill. Because really, like, if I'm gonna be honest, the only issue I have with modern Call of Duty is the skill-based matchmaking. Like, literally, I don't, like, everything else is just like, whatever. It's just like, if you want to make other changes on top of getting rid of skill-based matchmaking and all that, it's just the cherry on top. Literally, skill-based matchmaking is the only thing that I feel like really dramatically changed Call of Duty's gameplay. And believe it or not, just to, you know, just kind of put it as it is here for a minute, they were talking about how that actually wasn't even an Activision thing. Because a lot of people were saying that Activision put it into the game because they want money, but that was actually an Infinity Ward decision, back during MW19, because obviously that game was designed to cater to a lot of newer players at the time, so that's actually where skill-based matchmaking originated, and then where I would say it peaked in Black Ops 6. I feel like skill-based matchmaking in Black Ops 6 was probably the most severe that we had seen in any Call of Duty game up to this point, at least, you know, in the skill-based matchmaking era. And, but yeah, so it originated in MW19, they kind of just, like, steadily ramped it up, and now, finally, BO7, we're going back to, let's just put it as it is, how things should be. No hate to Infinity Ward, by the way. I've interacted with all the various COD devs on social media multiple times, but, you know, from all the different branches, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, the main COD account, etc. You know, I love all of you guys. You guys are great. I'm just, like, just kind of putting it as it is and just giving some of my honest thoughts on these things. But anyway, yeah, we'll call it there for today's video, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for Black Ops 2. But anyway, as always, a massive shout out to the patrons and channel members to get all doing the low ball tier, and any which are the asking me many and the biggest of the detail run of just low scroll and script. Thank you guys so much. It's a little legends. I love you. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.